Greetings, friends. You're watching Ruslan Belov's channel, and today we'll take a detailed look at the situation in Ukraine as of November 7th, 2025. It has been a very eventful day. A number of significant developments have taken place, each of which directly affects the overall situation along the front. Let's begin, as usual, with the Zaporizhzhia direction, from where truly important reports have emerged. Since early morning, pro-Russian sources have circulated videos showing the first Russian assault units entering the settlement of Vovchansk. Judging by the footage, this was either a reconnaissance in force or the final stage of the clearing operation. Based on these visuals, several independent mappers updated the frontline maps earlier today. The footage shows Russian assault troops taking control of farm structures on the outskirts, and as a result, most of Vovchansk has been marked as under Russian control. A few hours later, however, new video appeared documenting the battle itself for this fortified area. These clips show dense aviation activity, artillery strikes, FPV drone operators in action, and close-quarters fighting by assault groups. In the final seconds of the footage, soldiers from the Vostok grouping raise Russian flags in several parts of the settlement. These verified videos, along with the official report from Russia's Ministry of Defense, confirmed that Vovchansk is now fully under the control of the armed forces of the Russian Federation. From this point, the map in this sector has been completely updated. Let's see how the situation evolved over the past days. The first map, corrections around Vovchansk, appeared as early as October 30th, 2025. At that time, the situation remained unstable and the map showed mixed control. By November 4th, the Russian army was holding about 40% of the settlement, and by the 6th and 7th that figure had risen to roughly 80%. Though at that stage there was no visual confirmation. Only with the release of fresh footage and official statements today was it possible to finalize the update. Vovchansk is entirely under Russian control. Yet the advance does not stop there. The Vostok grouping is spreading new reports through affiliated Telegram channels, claiming that Russian units are now fighting for the settlement of Rybin and have reached the eastern outskirts of Sladka. It appears the clearing of Sladek could be completed within the next 24 to 48 hours. In that case, Ukrainian troops will likely have to retreat southward toward Ravnopilya, Yablukove and Novoye. This means that the defensive line that had been holding around Huliaipole has effectively collapsed. The last major stronghold, the Vovchansk fortified area, fell today, November 7th. Now, only a few small villages remain between Huliaipole and the Russian forces, none of which possess significant defensive value. In all likelihood, by the end of this year, or perhaps at the beginning of 2026, Russian troops will reach the outskirts of Huliaipole itself, a key Ukrainian defensive hub in this sector. Should it fall, the next logical objective for the Russian offensive will be Orikhiv. There's a strong possibility that the fighting for Orikhiv may begin concurrently with the battle for Huliaipole, but from the western flank, coming from the direction of Primorsky and Stepnohorsk. Now to the Novopavlivka section of the front, where there have also been positive developments in favor of Russian forces. Several new geolocated videos from this area appeared today. Let's start with Ivanivka. Fresh footage shows Ukrainian artillery striking Russian positions and attempting a counterattack supported by tanks. After a brief exchange, the Ukrainian tank is forced to withdraw. Judging by the strike location, the fighting occurred around farm buildings on the northern edge, which now seem to be under full Russian control. Based on this evidence, the map has again been updated. In addition, reports indicate that Russian units have also secured positions on the southern outskirts of Novopavlivka. Fighting is now taking place closer to the settlement's center and the bridge across the Solona River. The offensive is developing, and according to its current momentum, Russian forces aim to eliminate the Novopavlivka salient and move into open ground toward the Dnipro region. The main potential targets here are Medjova, Vesyole, and of course the key strategic city of Pavlohrad. These operations are expected to unfold in early 2026. Thus, the situation on the southern sectors of the front continues to evolve in Russia's favor. The capture of Vovchansk represents an important operational success that broke another major Ukrainian defensive line and opened the path for deeper advances into the Zaporizhzhia region. The offensive on the Novopavlivka front is gradually gaining pace, and the front line is stabilizing, creating favorable conditions for further strategic progress. We continue to monitor developments. At the current pace, new changes on the battlefield map, along with fresh statements from the Ministry of Defense and the Vostok Command, are likely in the coming days. Let's move on. We now shift to the Pokrovsk direction, from where numerous significant confirmations have arrived today. The map has again undergone major revisions, and these updates are impossible to overlook. Increasing amounts of data indicate that the northeastern part of the city of Pokrovsk has come fully under the stable control of Russian forces. Moreover, reports suggest that certain Russian units have already advanced beyond the Pokrovsk urban area and begun entering districts belonging to the Mirnohrad agglomeration. At this moment, intense fighting is taking place for the settlement of Rivne, which can effectively be considered a suburb of Mirnohrad. If Russian troops succeed in clearing this settlement and reaching the designated defensive line, the city of Mirnohrad will be completely encircled, leaving Ukrainian forces no viable route for evacuation. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian side is making active attempts to counterattack. According to incoming reports, Ukrainian forces are striking along the line that runs through Suketske, Rodinske, Krasny-Lyman, Zatishok, and Fedorivka. It is along this route that Ukrainian army units are trying to break through and unblock the encircled grouping in Mirnohrad. Their main objective is to carve out a corridor to the city's northeast and secure an escape route for the trapped troops. According to preliminary assessments, the withdrawal route would not pass through Rodinske and Pokrovsk toward Hryshyn, but rather follow a chain of settlements: Mirnohrad, Fedorivka, Razine, Zatishok, and Suketske. However, this path is extremely difficult. Along the entire stretch lie heavily fortified areas, the Krasnolymanska mine, and just to the south, the Pokrovska and Mirnohradska mines. These industrial complexes serve as major defensive strongpoints, making any attempt to break a corridor through them exceptionally challenging. Nevertheless, Ukrainian forces have no alternative. No orders to surrender have been given, and according to available information, no one is even considering capitulation. However, time clearly works against them. Russian units continue to methodically tighten the encirclement, while Ukrainian troops suffer heavy losses in fierce urban combat. Now we move to the Kupiansk-Lyman direction. No major changes have been observed on the maps around Lyman and Siversk, but the situation near Kupiansk remains dynamic. The Russian army continues its advance, and today, for the first time, the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation officially confirmed that the clearing of Kupiansk-Uzlovyi has begun. Previously, reports mainly mentioned the completion of operations in Petropavlivka and Kurilivka, where Russian forces were advancing from the eastern bank of the Oskil River. It is now reported that forward Russian units have entered Kupiansk-Uzlovyi, most likely from the west, after crossing the Oskil. Heavy clearing operations are ongoing. Additional reports also indicate progress in the northern part of Kupiansk. It's worth recalling that just a day earlier, several commanders involved in fighting on this front stated through official Russian sources that the city would be fully cleared of Ukrainian forces within 7 days. These statements were made on Thursday, meaning that by the middle of next week, official confirmation of Kupiansk's full capture could be expected. The Ukrainian side, in turn, is attempting to slow the Russian advance by transferring more equipment and reserves to the area. However, according to Russian sources, much of this equipment is destroyed before even reaching the front line, primarily by FPV drone operators targeting convoys along key supply routes. Now let's move on to the Vovchansk direction, where fighting has also intensified significantly. Another breakthrough in the Ukrainian defensive line appears to be imminent. New adjustments have been made to the southern part of the city. On videos released by the Ukrainian side, one can clearly see Russian assault units clearing residential blocks, taking buildings one after another. In some clips, the storming of a 2-story building is captured, as well as aviation and artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions. These episodes have been geolocated in the area of Rubezhanska Highway and the T2104 road. This means that Russian forces have not only reached the southern outskirts of Vovchansk, they have entered the city itself and are gradually pushing beyond it. Moreover, the Russian army has begun expanding its zone of control toward the settlement of Vovchansk, located to the south. This area is well suited for defense, so the Ukrainian side is concentrating forces there in an attempt to slow the Russian advance. However, Russian aviation continues to strike these positions regularly, suggesting preparations are underway to clear this area as well. Judging by the current pace, Vovchansk is likely to become the next target after the completion of operations in Vovchansk. At the same time, the Russian army is shifting its main focus toward the central and northeastern sectors of Vovchansk. It is likely that within the next few weeks, the Ministry of Defense will officially confirm the city's full capture. Additionally, according to Ukrainian cartographic sources, Russian troops have improved their positions in the Sinelnikivsky forest, advancing towards settlements such as Prilipivka, Sinelnikove, Lyman and Sahelne. The advance runs through a dense forest belt, providing cover from aerial strikes and FPV drones. As the bridgehead strengthens, Russian units are expected to continue moving forward toward Hravska and farther south in the direction of Veliky Burluk, building a foundation for further advancement toward the next key location, Veliky Burluk. Strikes are also being carried out on Ukrainian armed forces positions in the city of Siversk itself, and active assault operations are ongoing near the settlement of Zvanivka. No territorial changes have been recorded there as of today, but such reports continue to appear. As a reminder, first come the initial reports, and within 2 to 3 days we usually receive confirmation. Only then are updates reflected on the map. Heavy fighting is also taking place between Dnipro and Platonivka, specifically in the area south of Dnipro and north of Platonivka. There, intense FPV drone duels between Russian and Ukrainian operators are occurring. For now, no side has made any notable advance, though in the coming days movement may occur in either direction. We'll see who gains the upper hand. That's the situation there for today. On the Veliky Burluk axis, the situation has changed, this time in favor of the Russian army. Let's start with the latest reports. Russian forces are actively attacking Ukrainian positions near the settlement of Ambana from the direction of Milove, as well as from the areas of Otradne, Balahivka and Kamenka, targeting Ukrainian positions around the settlement of Zaporizhzhia. It is possible that full-scale assault operations may begin there soon, as reports of repeated attacks on Ukrainian positions in that area have been coming in regularly. Today, the map was officially updated in favor of the Russian side. The entire area has come under Russian control and has been completely cleared. This information has even been acknowledged by Ukrainian sources, confirming that these territories are now held by Russian forces. The Russian army's advance here amounts to roughly 1 kilometer deep into the front line. Additional strikes have also been reported on Ukrainian positions near the settlements of Kolodiazne, Hryhorivka, and Obukivka. These attacks are being carried out using FPV drones, artillery, and even air power. That summarizes the updates from this sector for today. Moving now to the Sumy direction, fierce fighting continues in the areas of Yunakivka and Sadki, as well as around the settlements of Kondrativka, Andriivka, and Alexievka. Video footage has also emerged from Alexievka and surrounding areas. These clips cannot be shown on YouTube, so they've been posted on Telegram instead. In Alexievka, Ukrainian forces are still holding their positions. During a recent troop rotation, several units came under attack from Russian FPV drone operators. Dozens of Ukrainian soldiers were reportedly killed. Despite heavy losses, Ukrainian forces remain present in the settlement and continue to suffer casualties along the approaches, as most supply routes run across open fields. In the videos, Ukrainian troops can be seen moving across farmland, exposed and being targeted by FPV drones. Strikes are also being conducted directly on Ukrainian positions inside Alexievka. These video materials are rated 18+, and therefore cannot be posted on YouTube. You can find them on the Telegram channel. The link is provided in the description. It is also reported that Ukrainian forces launched attacks toward the settlement of Tyotkino, but all such assaults were repelled, most likely drone-assisted. No ground advances by assault units have been recorded there. That's all for today's updates. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to our Telegram for full footage and detailed reports. See you next time.